Hey guys, this is a video because I've been watching a lot of Diablo Immortal backlash and people say, oh, I want to get into Path of Exile, but it seems like a very complicated game. Oh, the talent tree. Oh, what the hell is all that stuff? Well, let's get into it, okay? I'm logged into Path of Exile right now. You see, this is my list of characters. Character slots don't really matter. There are two types of player. Player that stay in the permanent leagues and people that play in other leagues. So what does this all mean? Standard league, see how many characters I have in standard league? You can make a character in a standard league. It's a permanent league, nothing ever gets deleted. And all the characters that play on their specific leagues end up in standard league. Two modes for this, right? So there is standard league and a hardcore league. You see, I don't play hardcore because I'm bad at the game. So basically, if you play a new league, like right now we're on Delve League, that's the name. The next league is, I think, December 7th. So you can check pathofexile.com for release dates. So here we are, standard league. So all the other leagues I've played, my characters were ported with their items and everything to the standard league, which I don't play. Let's try to go on a character in standard league, so I'll show you why I don't play standard. If you play a new league that's hardcore mode, you're at the end of the league, your character, if you don't die, is going to be ported to the permanent hardcore league. So see, I get now a passive skill tree reset because they made changes to the game and I haven't logged this in months. So here are my passive skill points. And now if I want, I can refund the passives or simply just save it. But this doesn't matter. So since we're here, let's talk about the skill tree. This looks like intimidating, right? Look at all this shit. This is like insane. You can never play this character, right? Well, this game is not that hard. For example, my character is a witch. You can see her here. Boom, boom, right? And this is where I start. So when I start here, you can see these nodes. These are travel nodes usually. Energy shield, increased mana regeneration rate. So this is my life. You either have life, energy shield, and this is my mana. In this game, you can spend life, you can spend energy shield or mana for your spells. You can use your mana as a buffer defensive stat, which means when you get hit, damage comes from your mana instead of your HP. You can go full energy shield with 1 life maximum, which makes you immune to chaos damage. You can go full life with no mana. You can customize your characters incredibly well. So basically, where you start affects two important things. For example, this is where the Scion starts, this is where the Marauder starts, and we have the rest. Two important things are what you're close to, like a witch is technically supposed to be close to spell damage nodes and energy shield nodes, and if you go here, there's like area of effect, sockets, power charges and stuff, fire damage, electric damage, cold damage, wand damage, blah blah blah. That's all this is. You're never going to get all of these. The maximum number of skill points is 108, I think. So I have 6, and there's a quest you can do that either gives you a skill point, 2 skill points, or passives like resists or stuff like that. You'll read them in the guides. I recommend always start Path of Exile using a guide. Just Google for a starting build in new leagues. You'll have tons of video. This is for complete new players. So these travel nodes are, well, here you go. Minions, life and mana. This is for totems. Depends on what build you go. So when you're going to look for a guide, you'll see they travel to keynotes. So this is like travel node, and this is an important node, for example. This raises your number of skeletons and zombies, or if you're going for a summoner build that uses that, you're going to travel here, you're going to travel here. This is life and energy. So yes, depends on what you're doing. So this passive skill tree is not that scary. You're just literally going to have to follow a guide. If you're completely new to the game, you're going to probably destroy your first character. It's probably going to be shit. I'm not going to lie to you, my first two characters are absolute dog shit, and I almost gave up on the game. But then you just start reading, and you start to get really into it. So all this is, like, this is evasion and life. Like, I remember some of these. I'm not by far the greatest player. It's just like, even though it's intimidating, every time you level up, you click one of these. So these travel ones are usually flat stats plus 10, and it's kind of, it has kind of a method to the madness. So this is mostly intelligence. Sometimes they put in dexterity or strength, because witches, for example, have almost all the travel nodes in intelligence, and some skills will require, of course, strength and dexterity. So if you end up with very much in intelligence and no dexterity or anything else, that's bad. So for some reason I don't remember how to actually apply this, but this is a standard character, right? I can't use anything. This was a level 94, and right now it's all gone. So this is your inventory, this is your stash, and these that I actually customized and changed are stash tabs you can buy. These are the standard ones. You cannot rename this, you cannot make them public. This game is trading items, skills and stuff. So if you buy a pack, if you want to, you don't have to, it's just a quality of life thing. This game is completely free to play. The packs are not that expensive. You can have a lot of these tabs, like professional players have a lot of these tabs. But let's just check this out. This is how many tabs I have. In reality, I'll show you in the current league, I don't have these many tabs. But every time my character gets ported, you see these remove only. This is what I had in that league. So I have to take it out and delete it, trade it, whatever. So that's what's going on. You can see players that are not rocking NTXs. You can see some players rocking NTXs. We'll talk about that. So the game looks kind of funky, but there's a good reason to it. The mechanics of it is pretty important. It's pretty heavy. And this character hasn't even finished the game. Like, I haven't been with this line on this character for a long time, so the game itself changes. It has acts, like Diablo has acts, but they changed them all 2 expansions ago. So if I look at the map, I haven't even done these quests. Like, these are the last quests. But I just wanted to show I don't play standard. Nobody, there aren't really passionate players that play standard, which is a permanent league. Nothing ever happens. It's all just boring. All of us usually play, the most of us, not all of us, play temporary leagues. So let's select another character. Like I said, standard. This is solo self-found standard, which means you cannot trade. This is like you against the game. You cannot trade anybody, you cannot buy stuff. Because there's no auction house on this game. You just buy stuff from other players. So solo self-found, that's SFSF. This is solo self-found hardcore, which is the permanent league. This is the new league right now, Delve. This is the hardcore Delve, where you die, you get ported to hardcore. This is solo self-found Delve, which is again the super single player, you cannot trade with other players league. And this is the solo self-found Delve hardcore. So let's go to Delve, which is the current league, and you can see I have 2 characters. So let's go on this one, and I'll show you what the game is all about. We talked about that huge ass tree, and this is my tree right now. So I started with a bow character, right? Because I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a bow skill that does damage over time, chaos damage. I really wanted to try that out, so I kind of googled it. I looked for a build, and as you can see, you just start, take some life, some evasion. This is possibility of avoiding stuns, and you basically get general stuff. It's very important, though, to talk about skills. So this is going to be generated by any guide you look upon. People will have comments on it. Oh, you could have saved some points here and there, blah, 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 blah. But in general, you see these things, projectile damage, stuff like that, life. So it doesn't matter. This map doesn't matter. Only what you travel through it matters a bit. And you can always refund these using these, which drop. So the currency Path of Exile, kind of weird. This is what drops. They're all orbs. And this is what you trade for items with other players. There's no money, right? So this is almost, these are crafting materials. See, reforges a rare item with new modifiers, like a new ring or something might be very expensive, and it might cost you hundreds of these, basically. But every item you trade for as a currency you can actually use. Randomizes the numeric value of a random modifiers of an item, blah, 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 blah. So let me show you what that does. Let me just find some dumbass items right here. So, see this belt? That's suffixes and prefixes. This is a Diablo thing. You'll know about these, right? So, this has 6 properties, 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. Don't worry about those right now, you're a fresh player. So what these orbs do, like reforges a rare item, boom, it changed everything on it. It changed everything on it again. Removes all modifiers from an item. This was going to make it white. We have more orbs. These are less expensive. Upgrades a normal item to a magic item. You know the magic item and stuff like that. This forges a magic item with new random modifiers. This is basically for rare items, which are these yellow items. This is this. This is for blues, for yellows, which are rare. This is exactly like in Diablo, guys. If you want to make it, even if you want to try Path of Exile and you feel disappointed and you want to wait for Diablo 4 or whatever, I'm not judging. If you want to try this game, this is very, very close to Diablo-esque type thing. This is a chance orb which randomizes stuff, but it needs to be white. So I'm going to use this, which I said resets everything to a white item, and then use a chance orb on it. It went blue again, so it can go unique, it can go rare, etc. So this is the gist of it. Orbs and stuff and blah blah blah. It's easy to learn, actually. It's a very big curve if you want to really learn about this game. But I completely encourage you to, one, either play a character, fuck up, fuck around. You remember those guys in Diablo 2 that allocated points, like from a barbarian in maces and swords and blah blah blah, that just fucked around? Well, here it's pretty easy because this is an passive skill reform point. So let's just say I made a mistake in my tree, right? I went here, I didn't want to go here. You just use these. You see here 12 points left, 13, and these drop. These are pretty common if you play for a couple hours. So if I press refund passives, see, apply refunds, done, 3 points out. You can literally finish a character like level 94 or something, and then find a new build that you want to try, and you literally use 100 of these and just start fresh. So the game is very forgiving, guys. You don't have to be intimidated by it. Let's talk about skill trees. So we have these personal hideouts. These are going to change in the new league. These are masters that you grant reputation with. You find them in maps. And basically, they have daily missions for reputations. They have some chat about crafting, and they're going to give you crafting benches. So this is a sharpening wheel. You can add these prefixes and suffixes to swords. This is a boy maker's tools, which means I can add stuff to bows. You can't add stuff to unique items though. This comes later. This is a bare bones mechanical viewpoint. So the other very important thing, except the passive tree and the stashes and the currency, is skills. Let's look at my skills. This is my chest. It's only 5 linked and 6 socketed. It's very hard to get 6 links actually. It's about 1600 of these fusing orbs. These don't always drop. So yeah, it's pretty bad. It's going to be hard for a new player, so I'm going to buy these gloves from a master, right? And usually quality them up with armor scraps. That would take this to 20% maximum quality. Then you use Jeweler's Orb to get sockets. These are 4 sockets maximum because they're like 4 dots, right? And this is 6, so that's 6. And then you use Orbs of Fusing on them. See, 2 and 2, 4. But the combinations to get 6 all linked is like 1600-ish of these. Sometimes you get it in 10, sometimes you get it in 3000. You don't have to worry about that. As a new player, you'll probably play on a 5 link, and I recommend finding a guy with a build that says you can play with a 5 link. It's getting a 6 link, it's expensive. This game, you get rich in this game by just playing more. That's the only thing. That's why I don't really take it that seriously, because if you play 12 hours a day, you're going to be well richer than me, you're going to find items that cost a lot. It's going to be great. If not, kind of sucks. And I don't have time to play it, I play it only for fun. So I said I made this build. Let's look at what the hell I have here. In this game, when you want to have spells to damage your enemies, it's not like Diablo where you choose a spell and you make it more powerful. These are skill gems, and these are support gems. So this is a skill gem. It says it's Toxic Rain, right? I have the details on the video, and you have to check what it does. So this is an attack, an AoE, chaos, duration, projectile, and bow. Which means all my skill points that have bow damage on it will affect this. All my skill points that have chaos damage, and I have chaos damage here somewhere, I think. Chaos damage with attack skills are going to make this more powerful, etc. This is a skill gem. So you put this in something, and then if you check my tooltip right here, I'm going to put this back on. Toxic Rain, right? So this is what it looks like, and then it explodes. There are dozens of these gems, guys. It's pretty awesome. You can make whatever character you want. It's a complete fantasy, and you can make them... you can use a fire skill to do ice damage and stuff like that. It's a pretty creative game. We're just talking about bare bones right now. So these are my support gems right now. I see it has a chaos tag in the name. Attack, AoE, chaos, duration, projectile, bow. So I'm going to use this skill gem. Added chaos. Damage on full life. This is a more multiplier. So the difference between increased and more is that increase is added, like 10% increased damage means the base skill does 10% increased damage, and then everything else is added to it. And after that, well, nothing. So it's a very slight increase, like 40% increased damage, for example, as an affix is pretty weak. But more means all the damage is calculated, and at the end of that, this adds 48% more or less. So this is way more important than this flat chaos damage. So I'm going to add this in. You see, tooltip. Don't worry about the tooltip. People get to 1 or 2 million on DPS, but I'll do a quick map and you see this is doing fine. Mirage Archer. This summons another archer, blah blah blah. And you can see the red ones go in the red thing. The green ones go in the green things, the blue ones go in the blue things. And this is avoid manipulation. You don't have to worry about skill gems. You don't have to worry about all this stuff. This is going to be detailed in any guide you pick up. This is just to get you interested in the game and make it just less scary. So, what happens in this game is not only you can choose a skill gem or more and customize what that skill gem does, basically, because it can stun, it can freeze, whatever. You can actually customize your content by using these, which are maps. So these drop as well. And these work just like any other items, which is where the GGG genius comes in. So this is just like any Diablo item you're used to, with suffixes and prefixes. So I can make this magical. See, an item rarity and quantity and monster pack size increases. I I can change it around. I can even add something to this, so it has 2 properties, which is the maximum number for a magic item. Or I can make this. I don't have any alchemy orbs. There were some orbs that can make it special. Yeah, but I'm going to use this orb, which adds a rare item. So here we go. Frenzy charge on hit. So what the effect do you do with these? You just go here to your map device. You're going to have this, don't worry. And you can add even more mods to your map, which is basically the content you create and curate at this point. You see my auras are reserved, and I'm using HP on this character. So nothing super fancy, just straight up I'm using mana for skills and blah blah blah. And these are my potions, they're very, very important. And let's see how well I do. You see that Mirage Archer? Every time I do this, I attack, he comes out and he does the thing on his own. So it's pretty good for killing packs, but it's pretty bad for bosses because it does less damage. Anyway, so you see things drop on the ground. You can have custom filters for these. I don't have any right now because I didn't play this league at all, which means it can show you whatever you want. So this is just like Diablo, see? Hovering stuff. And there are custom filters that players do, which you can add here in UI. But I don't have any right now because I didn't play on this computer, which means it can only show you whatever is important. So you can skip these white drops. It can clean up things. As maps become to get bigger and bigger, more stuff will drop. So this is a skill gem. This is like the default. But you can look for any filters. They made custom filters, so when really important stuff drops, you can add your own sounds. They made the most amazing filters in the world. They're pretty fun to play with, etc. So this is what you basically do. And there are unique bosses in this game, just like Uber Diablo. They are very challenging bosses. They are super challenging bosses. Every map at the end has a boss. And every map you do, these are my challenges for the league. And when you finish these, basically you can get MTX, which I press M. This is the microtransaction stash. This is a free game, but if you want to look cool, oh my god, you can look the coolest. Like, look at this stuff. Yeah, it's amazing. So, it's just my opinion that you should actually try it. Try this game, 7th December, new leagues come out. Everybody's going to start from 0, character level 1, no currency, no nothing, and you just play along with us. You can go to global. You can see people here are asking questions. Global 820. Let me see if I remember. This is the new. It's a more newbie friendly channel to join, and yeah, try it out. You have portal scrolls. I have a portal gem, which means I can use portal. You have identify scrolls. It's pretty easy to transition from Diablo 3 to this game if you want to try it. Plus it's free, and I encourage you to really try it. And except skill gems, there are some items that have unique sockets in which you can put these types of things, which are not skill gems and not support gems. They are jewels, and you can see on the tree there are some places where you can put jewels, and if you get the appropriate ones, they can be really powerful. I don't actually have very good ones. It's just generic chaos damage because, hey, I do chaos damage and that was my thing for this character. But I hope this gives you an idea. Like, you can make almost anything in this game. It's free to play. It's not really pay to win unless you actually want to pay, I don't know, $5 to get 5 stash tabs that you can basically say public, and you can price items so players find the items easy to buy them from you, which I recommend doing. Buying the minimal stuff is buying just one of these, basically. because you have like I think 5 or 6 or 7 standard ones, like you see these brown ones that you cannot make public, and these ones you buy. And there are other stash tabs like this currency one, there's big ones, quad stash tabs. You'll get into that. Just try it out. 7th December, give it a go. It's basically very close to Diablo 2. Don't let this thing intimidate you in any way. These are, again, a lot of choices here. Like, there are 3 ascendancies, so I chose this one because it gives me a chaos damage, but there are 2 more. It's going to be fun. So please try it out with us. I doubt this will get any traction. I made this just for some guys for a YouTube video that said they tried to get into PoE and they couldn't. But nevertheless, if you have any questions, please comment down below. Have fun and see you in the new league, which is called Betrayal.